Hello students. Today what I'm going to discuss with you is actually loop control structure in C programming. Loops are a very important part of C language. Whenever you want to iterate something or repeat something for a number of times, we can implement loop in C language. So let's understand first what is loop control structure. The loop control structure is one of the key concept of any programming language. It executes a block of statements number of times until the condition become false. So the statements those will be put inside that block will be repeated number of times until the condition is true. As soon as the condition becomes false, your your loop will end there and iterations will end there. So this is called loop control structure. Let's understand what are the types of loops available in C language. There are two types of basic types of loops in C language. The basic categorization is entry control loop and exit control loop. Entry control loops, as the name says, which are controlled at the time of entry. Okay, and exit control loops are those, as the name says, which can be controlled at the time of exit only. Okay, we can take an example. If we talk about entry and exit control, suppose in a party you are going with your friend, needs a pass to enter. Okay, so if you're giving the pass to the pass checker, showing the pass to the pass checker, and the pass is okay, you can enter that particular party. But if the pass is not okay, okay, you cannot enter in that particular party. So that type of party will be called entry controlled. So such type of loops in which such implications have been made that only at entry the condition will be checked. If the condition is true, you can enter inside the loop and execute those statements. But if the condition is not true, you cannot enter inside the loop. So these are called entry control. Exit control loops are those, as I told you, in which the controlling is done at exit. Suppose you're going to a party with your friend, and pass is needed, but not for entry. Pass will be checked after some time, maybe 1 hour. Okay, that you are actually getting that, having that pass or not. So, when you enter, you spend some time, and later on, the checker comes, like in a train. Okay, so pass checker comes and says that your pass is not correct. So you'll be out of that particular party, right? And similarly, in the exit control loop, if you're working and you entered once, the one iteration will be done without checking, and before going to the next iteration, the condition will be checked. And if the condition is true, only then you will be able to go to the next iteration. You will be able to execute the next iteration. Otherwise, you'll be out of that loop. So these kind of loops are called exit control, in which condition has been checked at exit. Okay. So for loop and while loop comes under entry control loops, and the do while loop comes under exit control loops. Okay, as mentioned here. You see, let's understand the syntax of all these loops. In any loop, the three things are most importantly required: initialization, condition, and the increment for any loop. Initialization means initialization of the counters which are going to use in loop, inside the loop for counting. Condition, condition is required. If the condition is true, only then loop statements will be iterated. If the condition is not true, so then in that case statements will not be executed. So condition is required, mandatory. And increment, third part is increment. If you want to iterate the loop, iterate the statements inside the loop, then the increment or decrement part is very important. Okay, because you are doing it for number of times. If you not do the increment or decrement part, the loop will be converted to the infinite loop. So you need to mention the increment part too. So the three things are initialization, condition, and increment. So in every loop, this should be there. Okay, it could be a part of syntax of loop or could be excluded from the syntax, but it should be there in the code of your program. Okay, otherwise your loop will never be complete. You can see the syntax of for loop. You can see here initialization is the one thing you need to do. So for parent left parenthesis initialization, then the semicolon, then the condition, then the semicolon, and the increment and closing of parenthesis. So all the three things are done here only in the for loop. Then curly braces, opening curly brace and closing curly brace. In these curly braces, the statements which need to be executed or iterated will be mentioned here. Okay, and do remember this loop after this condition, okay, and increment and initialization parenthesis, there will be no semicolon here. Do remember, if you put semicolon, then loop will be terminated here only. So this is for loop. If we talk about while loop in while loop, while, then condition will be checked in parenthesis, then curly braces, statements will be here which are need to be iterated. Do remember syntax, initialization and increment are not part of syntax. You need to mention it separately. It's like initialization of counter should be done before the condition checking of while loop, before the implementing the while loop. Do remember this should be done before, and as well as increment part is required, because if you will not do the increment part, okay, um, then the loop will be infinite in that situation. Okay? There should be some terminating condition, like there should be some restricted number of times you're going to perform this task, or you're going to iterate this loop. Okay, this is while loop. Then do while loop. In do while loop, obviously initialization and increment part is not there. You need to mention separately. Okay, mention separately. Okay, so do while loop, do, then the curly brace, statements to be executed, and this is increment part here. You need to increment, and then the while. and the condition. And don't forget to put semicolon here. In the last two cases, last two loops, we need not to put semicolon at the end of the loop condition, but here we need to, because we are checking the condition at the exit time. Okay, this is, we can do, this is the syntax of do while loop. Okay, let's understand all the loops with example. If you want to print numbers from 1 to 10 with for loop, this can be implemented like this. See, main, then the counter. Counter is initialized here. This part is initialization. Then the condition checking, I less than 11. Okay, from 1 to 10 it will be executed, and I plus plus, I'll be incremented after each iteration. Okay, and the value of I will be printed inside the loop. So I will be printed 1 first, then I will be incremented, again condition checking will be done. I will be 2. If the condition is true, it will get inside the loop again, and will print the value of I again. And this way I will be incremented and the condition will be checked every after every iteration, and till the condition is true, it is going to print the value of I. So till 10 it will print the value, and then it will exit from the loop. Okay, so similarly we can apply the while loop. Okay, int main, int I1. This is the initialization part which need to be done before the while loop implementation. While I less than equals to 10. Okay, while I less than equals to 10. Okay, so it will be implemented till the value 10, and I value will be displayed, printed, and I value it will be incremented after printing it, and till the condition is true, it will print the values of I. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 10 will be printed with this code. Similarly with do while loop, but the difference is we'll check the condition at end rather than at the starting in for loop and while loop. This is the initialization part again here in the do while loop. See here, this need to be done before applying do while loop, and this is printf statement, printing the value of I. Okay, so first value will be printed without condition checking. Do remember this. There's no condition checking till now. Then I value will be incremented. It will be 2 as it was 1 before increment. And while loop will be implemented with condition. While will be implemented with condition I less than equals to 10. If the condition is true, it will again go to the starting of the loop and execute all the statements to increment, and again we'll check the condition, right? If the condition is not true here, in that case it will come out of the loop after single iteration. This is how you can implement do while loop. So choice is yours, which loop you want to apply in your code. Okay, uh, the syntax are different, but the tasks done by the loop will be similar. Let's understand now the difference between all the three loops we discussed till now. First difference we have in all the three loops is the syntax. Syntax of all the three loops are different. Okay, to remember if we talk about while loop and do while loop, increment and the initialization part is not in the syntax, which I've mentioned in the past just to show you. But if we write syntax, there is no initialization and increment part in both these loops, both of these loops. Okay, if we find out another difference, for loop is an entry control loop, while loop is an entry control loop, and do while loop is an exit control loop. This is another difference. And we talk about one more difference between the three. In the for loop, if the condition is not true in the first time, the control will never enter in a loop. Okay. Similarly, with while loop, if the condition is not true first time, then the control will never enter in the loop. But in the do while loop, even if the condition is not true for the first time, the control will enter in the loop only after condition checking. If the condition is not true, it will come out of the loop. Okay. Then another difference is there is no semicolon after the condition in the syntax of the for loop. Okay. There is no semicolon after the condition in the syntax of while loop as well, but there is semicolon after the condition in the syntax of do while loop. These are the differences in all the three loops. That's it from my side for loops. Thank you, students. Thank you very much.